today's episode, I will be bringing you one of my self-love book recommendations. Yes. So if you're interested in a book that you can read that can feed your mind and help you love yourself more at the same time, then stay tuned. Welcome to the Self-Love Experience podcast. I'm your girl, Shira. The self-love book recommendations aren't necessarily self-love books. They don't have to have self-love in the title. They don't have to fall into the self-love category. But what they must do is feed the soul. So if I come across a book that I felt like after reading this book or hearing about this book, if it has helped me love myself more or help me strengthen my mindset, strengthen my mental fitness, strengthen my mental hygiene in any way, then I'm bringing it to you on the Self-Love Experience podcast because it is all about making sure that you have the very best experience. Do It Afraid. Do It Afraid by Joyce Meyer. Now, if you don't know who Joyce Meyer is, then let me tell you. Joyce Meyer, oh my goodness, I would say that she has been at the very beginning of my spiritual journey, not the very beginning of my church life or my church experience, religion, but definitely part of my own personal journey, my own personal relationship with God. Joyce Meyer is a minister. I do believe she considers herself a minister. And she has been speaking and writing books for decades. And I have been reading her books for decades. She definitely was an easy read and very practical. With me having a Christian foundation and coming into a relationship with God, she was an easy transition from just going to church, reading my Bible on my own, to reading other material from people who go to church and read their Bible. That's how I discovered Joyce Meyer. Her books have helped me so much, and not just helped me have a stronger relationship with God, but her books have helped me have a better relationship with myself. I think she had this, it was called Thinking, something like that. It really helped me to pay attention to my thoughts and what I was thinking, to be aware that if I'm thinking negative thoughts, that it isn't benefiting me. And so to stop. The Battlefield of the Mind was a book from way back in the day that helped me so much because I'm telling you, back then I felt like I was really in a battle and it was in my mind. Before I knew about mindfulness and mindset and growth mindset or even meditation, there was Joyce Meyer teaching me about my mental hygiene and my mental fitness. And for that, I will always be thankful. And even now, after reading all about her life and her own experiences and things that God has taught her, even now, I'm still one of those Joyce Meyer readers that go to the grocery store and make sure that before I leave, I take that shopping cart and I roll that shopping cart back to the designated place where it belongs. Whether it is in the parking lot and they have an area that says return shopping carts here, or if it's right up in front of the store where they have the shopping carts. I am always returning my shopping carts, and that is from Joyce Meyer. And for those of you who have read her books or listened to her ministry or followed her, hey, we're probably sisters. We're shopping cart sisters, because that is just one of the things that I think that she has shared that God revealed to her that a lot of people took personally and felt that God was speaking to them on that too. Just some integrity, thinking about other people and just putting your cart back. Anyway, let's get to the book. So the name of this book is Do It Afraid, Embracing Courage in the Face of Fear. And I'm telling you, so many things that we do, especially those of you who are creative or you want to do something that is in the public eye, you want to do something that's putting yourself out there, that's exposing yourself, like me right now doing this podcast, it can be very scary because people are not always nice. And it can be intimidating, or you get the thoughts like, well, who are you to have a podcast? Or who are you to want to sing? Who are you to think that you can be a model? Who are you to start your own business? Who are you not to? Who are you not to? Like, why wouldn't you? Who are you not to? And yes, we are going to be afraid, fear, false evidence appearing real. But if we sit around and we wait until we're not afraid anymore, it may never happen. I'll say that again. If we sit around and wait until the fear subsides or until the fear goes away, it may never happen. So Joyce Meyer tells us in her book, Do It Afraid, to understand your fears, to confront your fears, and to change your mindset. I'm telling you, when people write books like this, I'm ordering it. Now, let me tell you one of the unique things about this particular book and how I pay for it. I'm on Facebook and a Joyce Meyer ad pops up because we all know that Facebook right now is just all ads. Like if you have your phone in your hand, you have your Facebook app on your phone and you say Joyce Meyer, open it up and all of a sudden you're going to start getting ads from Joyce Meyer. It's crazy. It's crazy like that. So I get this ad from Joyce Meyer and it's just like, hey, I have this new book. It's not even a paperback, it's a hard copy book. It's a nice, strong, sturdy book. And she's like, you can get it with just a donation. There was no price on the book. It was just a donation. I'm like, oh my goodness. I haven't heard from Joyce Meyer in so long. I haven't read any of her stuff in so long. I'm guilty. I have not. I'm reading so many things. But when I saw the opportunity to get a book and that she had a new book, I knew that I had to snatch it up. So number one, I have not read this book yet. I have not read this book yet. So once I read the book, I will do a review on the book. Right now, I'm just doing it as a recommendation. And I'm even open to reading it as a book club. I know right now, because I don't know how many people is out there with my podcast downloads. Apple is normally my largest. I get my largest downloads from Apple. I think it just depends right now, which is why it's so important too that if you like what I'm doing, if you like coming here, if this is feeding your soul in any way, please make sure that you share the video or you share the podcast audio with other people so we can grow as a community, so we can all share our self-love experiences with one another, so we all can be a part of this self-love journey together, so we can glow together, so we can grow together. I would love to do something like a book club one day with a book that I haven't read yet that we can kind of just like all dive in it together. That would be fun. So anyway, in fear-inspiring circumstances, the wise course of action is to ask God why you reacted the way you did, and then watch and wait for Him to speak to your heart. The answer may come immediately or it may take a while, but if you seek to understand yourself, you will find truth, and the truth will make you free. John 8:32. I really like that she says, but if you seek to understand yourself. And I know sometimes people say, "Oh, you host a self-love experience. So what is that self-love all about? Is it just, you just care about yourself and not other people?" No, but you do want to love yourself as part of the root of your whole reason, your whole being of having this experience. You wake up with yourself, you spend all your time with yourself, and then you go to sleep and do it again every night from birth to death. Why wouldn't you become aware of who you are? Why wouldn't you embrace who you are? Why wouldn't you learn your strengths and your weaknesses? Why wouldn't you better understand yourself and accept and understand that you are enough the way you are? Why wouldn't you love yourself and like yourself? Why not? Why not? Why wouldn't you look at this beautiful world and say, this is what I want to experience? I love myself enough to give myself this experience because I know we know how to pour love into others. Pour all our love into that man there, into that career there, to that person there, into what they may think of me there. Pour that love into yourself. Take care of your mental hygiene and mental fitness. Embrace wellness. Cultivate a positive mindset. You will be able to be an example, an inspiration to so many others. It's like a mirror. What we do within, we're able to give out. But we haven't given it to ourselves. What you're trying to give out is going to burn out. It is going to run out. Baby, take care of yourself. Love yourself. Understand yourself. Let me urge you not to allow fear to push you around and simply put up with it. Neither should you go through your life blaming other people for your misery. Take ownership of your problems and open your heart to God, and He will help bring light into darkness, situations that you don't even understand. If you can understand fear, how it operates, you can be free from it. Now, I have a Joyce Meyer manifestation story that I want to share with you all. So, if any of you have followed me, you know that I don't know, I feel like I am a manifestation machine. Things that I am able to manifest, it's just a blessing, just so blessed. But I remember back when I first started dating my husband, and we were both recently divorced and we're starting over. So we didn't have a lot and definitely did not have the finances that we were both accustomed to in previous relationships, because divorce is expensive, it costs money, it hits hard, and we were both still experiencing the aftermath of that financially and just starting over and didn't have a lot of money. But I heard Joyce Meyer was coming to the Staples Center in Los Angeles and she was speaking.
And let us run with patient endurance and steady and active persistence the appointed course of the race that is set before us. Patience is waiting, it's enduring, it's going through, it's not quitting, it's not giving up. But even more than all of that, patience is an attitude that you learn to have.
This might have been, this was a while ago. And I was so excited. I'm like, wow, as much as I had followed Joyce Meyer and have read her books and I used to watch her, oh my goodness, to see her in person, to hear her speak, oh my God, that would just be a dream. I want to go. I want to go. So I told my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, I told him, and we didn't have the money for the tickets. We just didn't. We didn't have the money for the tickets. And I was just like, I just really feel like I'm supposed to be there. I want to go. I'm supposed to be there. And so he was just like, well, I'll drop you off at the Staples Center, because it's not like we had money for Staples Center parking or any type of parking. But he's like, I'll drop you off. And I'm like, if you just get me to the Staples Center, I just feel like if I get there, somehow I'll get in. Somehow it'll work out for me. I'm just going to practice faith. And faith is action. Faith is action. Faith isn't just believing and sitting. Faith requires some type of movement, some type of action, some type of let me do this. He drops me off and I get out the car and he drives off. I'm like, oh, well, I got my cell phone. I can call him if things doesn't work out right. But he drives off. And I'm telling you, as soon as he drives off, someone comes up to me and says, hey, I have a free ticket, an extra ticket to Joyce Meyer. Do you want it? I was like, yeah. I was like, wow, God, that was fast. I didn't even walk 5 steps yet. It was like, I got out the car. There's all these people everywhere. I get out the car, so I'm dropped off in a palace. I get out There's all these people here, and bam, the first person comes up to me and just gives me a ticket. And that ticket got me in. They just gave it to me. They didn't try to sell it to me, they gave it to me. Oh my goodness, that was such an amazing example of God's faithfulness. So much example of how, I felt good. I wasn't worried that I wouldn't get in. I just said somehow I have to. I want it. I want it so badly, and I don't understand why God wouldn't do this for me. I mean, I pay attention to God's word. He says, hey, if you ask anything according to my will, then I hear you. And if I hear you, then you have the petitions that you've asked. And I'm like, oh, going to see Joyce Meyer, I know that's according to your will. I'm sure it is. So let me ask. Let me believe that I received it. And then let me go to the event and allow myself to hold a ticket in my hand. So I received it in prayer, even though it's not going to fall out the sky. I'm learning now a lot more so than even then is that when you pray, talk to God, communicate with God, universe, source, spirit, higher self, higher power, Holy Spirit, whatever you call it, when you have that conversation and you ask and believe that it's done, it's like ask and it is given, ask and it is given, ask and it is given, it is given, and you walk away as if it's given. And then you take the steps needed as if it's given. And that's all I'm going to say. And you take the steps. I'm not telling anybody to take some steps that they feel is going to have them not paying their rent or have them in some type of trouble. I'm not talking about that. You have to be in tune with what the step is for you. What is your action of faith? And for me, in that event, my action of faith was just to go, show up anyway. I don't have a ticket, show up anyway. Don't have money, show up anyway. I'm not going to say that it's going to always be as fast as that was. I mean, as soon as I got out the car, first person comes up to me like, hey, you want a ticket? I'm like, yes, I do. It was just a really great time. And what's crazy is I remember the journey to getting in to see Joyce Meyer more so than whatever it was she was talking about all those years ago. Sorry, I do. I remember the process and what that lesson taught me way more. Although all of it was good and all of it was a blessing. My book recommendation. All right, we can read it together. My book recommendation. I'm going to start reading Do It Afraid by Joyce Meyer. And those of you who are interested, I urge you to read it as well. The first part of this book will help you understand fear and recognize how it works in your life. The second part will help you confront fear. And then in the third part, you will learn about mindsets that will position you for freedom from some of the most common fears people face. And she says, I pray that as you read and study this book, you will experience freedom from fear. That is Do It Afraid by Joyce Meyer. I am an Amazon influencer. I do have affiliate links that can help you get things at a discounted price. I'm totally looking forward to reading it. Even just going through the pages, I can see quotes from Dale Carnegie, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Phillips Brooks. Don't pray for tasks equal to your powers. Pray for power equal to your tasks. Fear defeats more people than any other one thing in the world. Ralph Waldo Emerson. I am definitely looking forward to reading this, especially now that I see that there's quotes in here. Leonard Ravenhill, a man who is intimate with God will never be intimidated by men. Oh, I like that one. A man who is intimate with God will never be intimidated by men. Oh my goodness, I am adding that as an affirmation. Speaking of, if you've never received my self-love affirmation guide to help you create your own self-love affirmations, I will have the link in the description below. And I'm also updating them as I grow and as I become mentally and spiritually full. I learn new things. I update my stuff. I change things. If I discover more of a powerful affirmation or something new that may have not been in the initial one, I update it and I change it. So I will have an updated version in the link if you are interested in those affirmations that we don't just say remotely, but that we feel. Like I felt that. That was An amazing quote. So Doing It Afraid by Joyce Meyer was definitely the self-love book recommendation I recommend for you today, because it's not about a book about self-love, but it's a book that you read because you self-love. I am Shira Nicole, and until next time, love thyself. If anything that was said in this episode resonates with you, or you want to support the Self-Love Experience podcast, you can do so by simply sharing this episode with 5 of your friends. You can take a screenshot of the episode on Instagram, put it in your story, tag me at Mrs. Shira Nicole. I would love to hear from you and say hi. If you're interested in not just listening to the Self-Love Experience podcast, but also watching us, you can check us out on YouTube on the Life with Ant and Shira channel. The Self-Love Experience just has a new sponsor, bookings.com, where you can get your travel needs taken care of at a discounted price. You can click on the link in the show notes and start planning your next vacation today. If you would like to donate a cup of tea or contribute to the tea mug collection, you can go to my Ko-fi link and buy me some tea. If you enjoyed this episode of the Self-Love Experience podcast, you can always leave us a review. We read every single one of them, and we thank you all very much for your support. To be a part of the Self-Love Experience tribe, go to www.shiranicolesmith.com to sign up, where you will get instant access to tips, tricks, tools, and more to help you on your self-love journey.
Fear is everywhere and affects everyone, including me. But with God's help, I've learned how to move forward in the presence of fear and do it afraid. I wrote this book because I want you to experience the peace that Jesus died to give you. In these pages, you'll learn how to understand and confront fear and change your mindset for lasting freedom. If you open your heart to God, He'll help you embrace courage in the face of fear.
New from Joyce Meyer, Do It Afraid. Order your copy today.